Hello and welcome to another edition of Goa 365's Assembly Audit. We've been discussing the various things that have been happening in the Assembly during these days that the session is on, and outside also, and connected as well. So with me today, in today's panel, I have Rajan De Mello of TMC. Rajan Babu, welcome to us. Sandesh Telekar of AAP. Sandesh Babu, welcome. Avinash Bhosle of NCP. Avinash Babu, welcome. Our own Viraj Naik. Viraj Babu, welcome. And Advocate Siddharth Samant. Siddharth Babu, welcome to our show. Now, Rajan Babu, I would like to start off with you. Can you give us a general thing of what has happened in the Assembly? I think today is the 8th day, another 2 days left and we are done. At least number of working days.
First of all, to say what is happening in this Assembly is the sanctity of the Assembly still continues. Just assurances are given. What was given in the past Assembly, 80% of the assurances are not fulfilled. And everybody takes that credit saying that I got assurance from the minister. It's quite more or less the passing time, making a fool of the public. You see, that very sanctity where every word spoken on the floor of the House had that force that it would happen is not there anymore. Show me one of the assurances that will happen in before the next Assembly. And if it doesn't happen, what happens? There is no penalty. And at the same time, we have an opposition who is totally at their ease.
Sandesh Babu, I don't know, your party is just new, first time in the opposition, at least in Goa. You agree opposition on, some sections of the opposition or whatever, I don't know.
When I believe when he says opposition, it means Congress, because they are the largest second party, and they, for their own reasons, have failed to perform the part of opposition, strong opposition. It's pointless to speak about Congress actually, so I wouldn't get into it. But then, having two MLAs, we have tried our best and we have tried to touch each and every issue that connects to the common man. We've tried putting questions, unstart questions, start questions. Very few could come. That's another game plan of the ruling BJP. But then we have made a mark. That's what we feel. We need to do more. We are not saying we have done 100%. We need to do lots more. But then we have started it, and I believe in the coming times we will be the strongest opposition in the state.
This is something that we were discussing just before this. So, Avinash Babu, yes, I agree. If today Congress has failed. The one point I would like to think is Yola allies, but there is no leader of opposition from the Congress side. The leader of opposition in the Congress is by the Speaker. Just to put it on record. Avinash Babu is right. Suppose if the Congress fails as an opposition, and AAP takes over, but also NCP has got a good chance on that. So many issues to be discussed. Taxis, CRZ, Kala Academy, rain preparation,
there is a galore of issues, not only one. Because what has been happening, nothing has been seen as it though it's a monsoon session which is supposed to be 45 days where real threadbare discussion should have happened, but unfortunately it's at another day. Today is the 8th day. Nothing has cropped up. It has just been a ritual which is being performed. Of course, I very well congratulate AAP for that matter. Even RG has performed with the performance. Vis-a-vis Congress has absolutely disappointed the people over that performance. Of course, NCP doesn't have any account in the House. We are a zero there. We had a lone MLA, as I said last time, and his conduct was such. He was hardly with us. He was all the time. Before the government, they were what you call MLA elect. Before he could swear an oath, he goes to the governor and says, "I support treasury." So that is the unfortunate part. But yet, as you rightly said, there is very much scope. Beside the Congress, because Congress has been replaced, it has been evident. Very fact that we have two AAP MLAs and one RG MLA in the House, that speaks how Congress has been marginalized. And it is the being of this, not a credit, I would not give it to BJP or somebody. Credit goes to Congress itself for this. And at another goal has been happening, self-goal, or keep on having a self-goal upon themselves. But yet there's definitely a scope for NCP and like-minded other local parties like AAP and all to have a space. Ultimately, we are not going to squeeze in the space of BJP. It is not possible. So we have a space of Congress only. Because you cannot, if in a jar, if there are marbles, you say the law of probability. You put a head, there are black marbles and white marbles. You know, now there are black marbles have become Congress and white marbles are BJP. So obviously we are going to pick up the black marbles, and that is a replacement. So right now, whether it is a tax amendments issues, whether there is your mining issue, as we discussed yesterday, then we had now also the issue of CRZ. So there are various issues that I don't blame the House today, because it has been designed in such a way. There are plans. They don't want to, because they don't want any discussion. Because ultimate the test of a democracy, because we are a parliamentary form of democracy, and real touchwood, which is the stone which you call, it's a house. That is utmost. But now we have to rely on the people's court, that is of Supreme House. So Supreme House is now, we have a panchayat election, which is down, very grounded elections, that will speak the result. But yet I'm not rather trying to be complacent, but nothing will turn out, because these are the people, ultimately they will photograph themselves, whether it is a Congress people or BJP people over here, and they will be the ruling party.
Obviously they need money,
because they want development. And already the train has been set by their forefathers, like your MLA, senior people. We are joining them for development of my constituency. So this is the rituals which are conducted. We are not happy what has been going on. At this is the 8th day, which is unfortunate date. Nothing has been transacted that seriously, and no heed is given to the real issues of the people. That is unfortunate.
Viraj Bab, I would shift the thing from basic politicking before I get to Sawant Bab. Like, give us a different perspective. Like, from your perspective, you have we've been following the last election, the assembly. Generally, what you would like to put forward?
As I usually say, the current trend among the electorates, when we were going on the field and doing the surveys and even otherwise, so no one is really that much interested in what happens in the legislature. Even the assemblies which are there, people are not that interested as they used to be in the past. So it is more about person to person connect. So they want their MLA to be available on the call, attend at night if there's something goes wrong, and that kind of thing. So that focus is shifting. I would say even the electorate is partly responsible for it, because their demands is what the MLA tries to fulfill. So you cannot go against the people, because finally they are the ones that elect you. So that is one point that I feel as far as a different perspective is concerned.
Sawant Bab?
दोन तीन गोष्टी. पहिली गोष्ट म्हणजे आमचं ट्रजन बापान म्हणले about 80% of the assurances which were given on that have not been done. Now even that also you can ask. Last time, see how else do you settle this issue? If there has been certain promises or the assurances, if it is given on the last assembly, then you question the government on today. या फावटी तांच्यांनी विचारपाक जाय की फाटल्या फावटी बाबा हे assurances दिल्ले ताचे कितें जालें. You either take them to task in assembly or you hold a separate press conference and do. What I am saying is, if you see in this last 8 days of assembly, this opposition has not been able to, except for last 2-3 days, first 4-5 days, they have literally given walkover to this. It's only last 2 or 3 days, questions on mining, taxis, CRZ, unemployment and tourism have been asked. And most of the questions, in fact, most of the questions have been asked from the ruling side. Divya Rani has asked more questions than others.
In fact, just talking about Divya Rani, Divya Rani has spoken about employment.
That's what I have been saying. So even this was supposed to be coming out of the mouth of opposition, but it is coming out from the ruling side. So therefore, and another point which he has been making, yes, that is, by and large, people have stopped taking interest into the affairs of the assembly. Earlier people would, even when there was no, there were only print media, they would literally read as to what has happened, and you would see people discussing whether it is on the barber shop or a tea shop. Today you don't hear such kind of discussion. So yes, लोकांची उदासीनता या assembly प्रकरणाचे एकंदर this is bit worrying. एक चिंतेची बाब असा की लोक assembly कितें घडटात पळय. See, we have a particular format of democracy. If the government has to be held accountable, you can have them accountable at 2 places. One is while voting, and second, how they conduct themselves by asking questions in the assembly. So, as far as voting is concerned, that will come once in 5 years. But most of this we could, because there were earlier people would press their own assembly elected MLA to go and ask these questions. These are the problems that we are facing. Please ask it. Today such things are not happening. Today people have found other alternatives of getting their work done. They probably go to the MLA or the ruling side and then directly put up their questions or grievances that these are the problems, which in a democracy I don't see is a good sign.
Not a good sign.
Not a very good sign, because whatever problems of the state has to be discussed in the assembly and the floor of the house.
Trayambab, you have been in politics for a very long time. You have been working with stalwarts of Goan politics. What do you see? What is the how is politics today, especially the legislative politics, assembly politics?
I only started by saying that the very sanctity of the assembly is not there anymore. And I think Viraj and Sawant, by saying people are not interested, when do people do not get interested? When they lose faith in the system. Then you get not interested. It's as simple as that. I only made it a little holier than thou to say that very sanctity is gone. The assurances are not met. Now, my friend, he said, certain parties have touched some issues. Touching an issue, I can do it also to that. Now, what does it mean? We are doing it, he is also doing it. Touching issue out of the house and in the house, what is the difference? There is no difference. This is what I am trying to say. That they are passing time, and therefore, rightly both have they pointed out, they went people oriented to say that nobody is interested in what is happening. We are talking choices or chore. If this mentality has gone deep, sunk deep, and what is happening today, those who are sitting in the opposition are going to cross tomorrow to the ruling. What are you going to waste time for? Which fool is going to waste time for at the end of the day? My question is, this politics has reached a level where a tremendous churning is required. If not, the faith and hope of the people in a democratic system has totally crumbled.
You also have been in politics for a very, very long time. I mean, not only electoral politics, you've been there before that, student politics, lot. So what do you feel like these issues, see, like taxi issues, CRZ, rain preparation, flooding, the people should have been walking, I mean, like, generally making an issue, but Kire, what is it? Zauna.
No,
I know you have said last time that no, they are young, they have to still learn, but why
that was definitely an opportunity.
Our boys flooded, like, what do you need to learn?
As you rightly said last time, 50% of the assembly, present August assembly is newcomers. There are 19 of the MLAs on either side, opposition, treasury bench as well as opposition, they are newcomers. So they definitely require some sort of time because it's becoming for their first maiden assembly presence. And I would definitely give a benefit of doubt, and they need to be studied, they need to be encouraged ultimately. But at the end of the day, see, we want a result, people like to spend a result. Result in the house, also result out of the house. Even now people look at the MLA, the local representative, whether it's a councillor or sarpanch, punch or an MLA, they feel their job has to be given. So it is in their narrative, their perspective. So their attention towards what is happening in the house, though Goa is such a big, next to Kerala, we are highly literacy. But the enthusiasm and interest which is shown by the people of Kerala, that is not being shown by our Goans. We are least interested because they have come to know in Goa, because Goa being a very small place, so now it is written on the wall. Are Baba, Congress they will definitely flow back to some other party. So there is a trust deficit, and that's why, because of this trust deficit, the people cannot connect themselves to the representative, and the issues are not taken in the right perspective, what are required. And we go these small things which are also cosmetic things, which is now we will be very happy. Water flyover, kaiti zada, kaite flyover, so we are happy on that. And we've come big applause. Like, this is the irony of a democracy. We laugh at it, but in fact we should laugh at ourselves, which is not happening. It is unfortunate in a parliamentary form of democracy. Now it comes to, are we really fit for this democracy? No. This question is, because Trojan has rightly asked, where is the sanctity? Sanctity is not seen. There is no. That is where I put it this way: trust deficit. So this needs to be. You can very well pass a deficit budget, but there needs to be surplus of trust, confidence, faith, which is lacking in this present house. So everybody, there's a distrust, you look in a suspicion. So this is unfortunate part. So now if you want to connect, because there was an era during our student movement, so that connectivity was there, that homogeneity was there, and there was a trust. If I do something, my colleague had a faith in me, even if I am doing wrong, they stood by with my wrong. They did not desert me at that point of time. No, Avinash, you are wrong. So that even during wrong, you should support a wrong, if that wrong is being done for the good of many. So here, there's all galore of wrong, everything happening. And now it was under carpet, now it is over the carpet. Nothing is in the carpet.
Okay.
That is unfortunate.
Sandesh, yeah, now, I don't know, like I got really confused with this. But yeah, AAP has taken up a lot of issues, right? But one point I would like to make, especially with the ruling government and parties like AAP and this, today it looks as if the ultimate and only thing that is there in this is elections. So everybody moves towards it. Only when election time comes, everybody gets energized. The politicians, the media, the people, everything. You feel that is, and like just to add on, I know it's a little beyond your, I mean like not exactly on your brief, but you think that is happening, that's why people don't pay so much attention to the essay, or people are paying attention to the essay? What do you feel, Sandesh?
As Trojan and my colleague said, yes, people have lost their faith in democracy. It's bad to say this, but then it is a fact. आणि हाका रिस्पॉन्सिबल जशे लोक आसा, जशे स्वता लोक आसा, तशे हे राजकारणी आसा. म्हणजे जितले राजकारण्यांनी आज म्हणल्यार लोकांच्या फेता कडेन, लोकांच्या विश्वासा कडेन खेळ्ळे, ज्या भशेन खेळ्ळे, म्हणजे आपल्या स्वार्था खातीर खेळ्ळे, तो दॅट इज द रिजन पीपल हॅव लॉस्ट फेथ इन इट. आज लोकय खंय तरी स्वार्थी जाला. लोक आयचे गोंयचे पॉलिटिक्स हे फक्त आपल्या पुरती मर्यादीत आसा. आपल्या भोवती, आपल्या म्हणजे इट्स सराउंडिंग मी, म्हाका कितें मेळटलें, म्हाजें कितें काम जातलें, ताज्या भायर पॉलिटिक्स ना.
सो इलेक्शन्स
बेसिकली इलेक्शन्स. सो खंय तरी पॉलिटिक्स हाजो जो खरो अर्थ आसा, इट्स अ वे ऑफ सर्विंग पीपल, दॅट इज नॉट देर एनी. You fill your pockets, you fill your people's pockets, and that's all. General, सगळ्या खातीर जो
election thing, the way we are moving in a direction, elections will also be wiped out. There will be direct nominations.
Exactly.
I don't think so.
When I say direct nominations mean, gal tu Congress candidate yelo thanga gal BJP so what party what nation. It is leading to that. It will be just bulldozed.
Democracy is also heart asa, soul asa.
In that direction.
Democracy is a soul asa. It's betterment of all. But today it has been made
people from
betterment of
Maharashtra
few.
are to Rajasthan and getting elected there or Rajya Sabha. Where is this?
So yeah, betterment of few जे जाला राजकारण, ताजो रिजल्ट हो जाला की लोकांकय खंय तरी ह्या सगळ्या हातून वीट आयला आणि तोच ताजेच आमकां परिणाम आज पळोवपाक मेळटा. आणि म्हाका दिसता भारतीय जनता पार्टी, बीजेपी जी रुलींग आसा आज, this is taking the best advantage of all this.
No, because people, society is selfish. माझा फायदो कितें? फर्स्ट थिंग फाल्यां अविनाश बाब फसवते मोर्चा आजार ते वचून कितें रे आमचो फायदो कितें रे? If this is going to be the attitude, you are getting the result. You get the government you deserve.
But actually, one thing this I'd like to disagree with you, Rajan Bab, little bit.
Please keep on disagreeing.
Yeah.
There's a debate to go on.
Yes. No, then you will throw out two people out of the debate, which I don't think they will appreciate. But the thing is that I think now parties like yours and AAP have realized this, and I think they are becoming little more people-centric.
But the force that is working against this is tremendous.
No, once about 2-3 years back, nobody was reacting. Now the reactions have started
coming, but at a very
it takes time. Things take time.
I can say the south of India may keep us alive.
And Goa, I would think, I would hope so. Viraj,
Goa is teaching the way.
Laboratory.
In all bad ways.
So shifting from the politics, let's come to the issue at hand. So maybe we can throw some light on that. So coming to the main taxi issue, it's been going on for quite some time. Now the government has taken an initiative saying that they'll get Ola, Uber and your app-based taxis. So this change, see, we have to realize that with time we have to change. App-based taxis are all over the world. So Uber is an international thing, Ola is from India, and every country, China, Thailand, has their own versions of it. So we have to get into it, but at the same time, let's look at the problem. So the problem from the consumer side is high fare, which is, I would say most of them will agree. Now, just because the fare is high, you get app-based taxis that might not be fair to the taxi owners.
Yes.
So, if you look at their problem, the biggest problem in Goa is they don't get return fares. So, they have to go and then come back and they charge the return fare to the first client, the customer. So, if that can change, maybe they can come down on their rates.
That can change by app-based taxi.
Yeah. So, now how can this be changed? This can be changed by in two ways. One, app-based taxis, if they are able to give them return fares, if the prices come down, even the locals will start using it. Currently, the problem is only tourists use. Everyone in Goa.
I think that is not a problem of the
Locals.
That is the problem of the app base. Like Goa Miles, I remember when Goa Miles, the people, they had come to meet us. I told them, you all are concentrating on tourists. There you have so much of competition, yellow and black, all the different. But if you go for locals, our transport system is
the worst.
Pathetic. Nobody would want to go by it. It's a question.
Coming to Goa Miles, so it's a good initiative. But
they went only for tourists. They did not go for locals.
If
That's
you
why
go to a place like I was booking a taxi for a friend in Ponda, there was not a single taxi available.
Correct.
So how are the locals going to use it?
Exactly.
So if you look at the app-based taxis, they charge somewhere around 20 to 25%, even 30% at times from the fare. Now that's quite a lot. So this will eat. You have to understand that this comes from the profit of the taxi drivers, not the revenue. So if government can negotiate on this thing and something could be worked out, which is like reduces the fare and also goes in the favor of the taxi owners, because they also have to survive and they have to take care of their, they have to make profit finally. So this is something I think there has to be some trade-off somewhere, and both the parties should sit together and come at a common conclusion. Just by sticking at one end, I don't think a solution will come out.
The thing is that the taxis should be like how you have in Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore. Locals also should. Tourists should be okay, by the way. But locals should be the main beneficiaries of this app. Then taxis will be, and then also these dadagiri of this certain section will not work because locals will support the taxi. Saad, we have discussed this earlier.
Yes,
we will be discussing it.
That is what I was saying. That is what I was saying. Now you just take Trojan's example. Now he has come from Mapsa.
Exactly.
He's paid around 350 to 400 rupees on fuel. Now if he gets one side drop for about 150 rupees, he will never use his car. See, he can talk while coming, he can read something while coming.
Exactly.
His hands are free. He would always take a taxi. Now these things are
why
going to be possible.
Rajan, you, me, all of us.
We will
I
never
was trying madly for this Goa Miles.
Correct.
I could not get it, but
Correct. That is what. So all these things. See, when these
decided-
things will happen when
It doesn't work.
presently the system is such that it is not possible for you to even think that you would get. Now, for example, if you want to go to say Kalangut from here, you can maybe take a taxi from here to Kalangut, but if you want to come back, you will have to take another taxi from Kalangut and here, and you end up paying 4 times. So that's the reason. So all this market for drop back will happen only when app-based taxis come, or you formulate some other policy or some app or some forum whereby now Goa Miles was one other thing, but that also was not allowed to function. The drivers are beaten up. All sorts of threats are taken.
It was a
all sorts of threats. All sorts of threats
was strategically very bad.
Yes.
The way they targeted.
Yes.
Was very
Another point which was persistently being discussed, that people have lost faith in democracy. I think that's a much far and See, but आम्ही कोकणीत म्हणतात नाही लोक सध्या उदासीन आसा people are sort of withdrawing from the discussion. No, means they are sad about these things. They are sad about these things, that these things are happening. But it's not that they have given up on democracy. See, democracy is
I'm
like
not
a
saying
festival.
given up, losing faith.
Losing,
He's
yeah,
almost
that's
given up.
like, slightly. See, democracy is like a festival. Everybody has to participate in that. Then only that first festival becomes successful. Democracy will be as good as the people, as good as the people's participation. That is the only thing that can, unless you seek some sort of an accountability from your accounted leaders. Now there could be various ways. Maybe you introduce something like recalling your MLAs if he is not performing. Just a thought. I am not saying that's a topic for some other day, but something of that sort. But that is something. See, the idea behind it is seeking accountability. It may not be recalling, but there should be something whereby you make himself accountable for failure of his duties as a minister or as a MLA or an MP or whatever position that.
See, what
I
doctor
think
says, that democracy is like a festival. It is a festival, but it has become holy and what do you call that? Carnival. We all don't want to participate.
Okay.
In that
I just
tamasha.
want to add.
It is not a tamasha.
10 seconds.
I just want to add to the taxi thing. Yes, there are issues with the local taxis, but it's a very marginal thing. Very few people who have spoiled the name. But then,
true, that is
I think there is a need for government to act more responsibly. We need a government regulated app, wherein the revenue comes to the government and don't give it to some private party.
Yes, guys, we will continue this discussion next time.
Some other time.
Run out of time completely. It was an interesting discussion, though. Elections, I don't know, democracy. Lots of very profound topics came up besides taxes. Thanks, guys, and we are going live now directly to the assembly. So, and we will be back tomorrow at the same time. Thank you. And keep
You are going to the place where nobody is
go ahead,
interested.
365.
People will be interested in this.